Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. To those just joining in, welcome. Third time's a charm, as they say. This is the third time that I'm trying to go live, and hopefully, this time around, you get to hear me loud and clear. So, for those who just joined in, I am Joan Gozon from the Leadership Project. I handle sales and marketing for the team, and I'm just excited and delighted to be here, my very first live stream with the Leadership Project. And just a quick tech check because this is, again, like I said, the third time that I went live. So I'd like to first check if I'm being heard loud and clear. So let me see if I am. I am already being heard. Let me see. Okay. Looks like I am clear this time around. So thank you again for those who joined in. And for those who are joining on replay, still continue to engage with us. Let us know where you're watching us from. And today, I'll be sharing with you a glimpse of how things go here at the back end of the Leadership Project, specifically on a topic that is very close to our hearts here at the Leadership Project, having been in the podcasting space for the past 3 years. And now we're delighted to share with you that we now offer digital marketing services for all our partners who would like to elevate their status to thought leader in the subject matter expertise of their craft. So this will be very candid and raw, as you might see. I'm also trying to figure out the back end of doing live streams. So I hope you get to continue learning as we continue this live stream. So today's topic is specifically on how to start your own podcast. And I'll be sharing insights on how I do it from a sales and marketing perspective. So last week, Say Spears, our general manager, joined you during her live stream, sharing different tips and suggestions on how you can create a power CV that would stand out of the multiple applications that your boss would receive. So right now, what I'll be doing is share to you the different considerations before you even start your own podcast. So what you'll be seeing in a moment is my screen where I have my sorry, I'm trying to show you my screen where I do all of the editing and show notes, and at the same time the branding that we have with the leadership project. So feel free to bring in also a few of your questions should there be any. So what I'll be doing now is share to you the screen. For some reason, I'm seeing my webcam and not the screen. Okay. So let me put this up. Should okay, I understand now. So I think it's there you go. I'll transition to my screen. So one of the first considerations of starting your own podcast is the branding. So let me show to you now the Leadership Project's brand. And as you can see here, we have a specific branding that incorporates the different colors of the leadership project, and at the same time we also do collaborations with different guests from different industries to know more about what their thoughts are about leadership and how we can elevate ourselves and becoming better leaders and become the leaders that we always wish we had. Okay, so this is for the leadership project, and this is how our social media branding looks like. We have different types of posts for different platforms. So you can also find us on YouTube, where you're watching us right now. You can find us on Instagram, and also we have our own Facebook group. So do like our page so that you can stay updated with the upcoming guests that we will have. So as I record this, we're down to the last 2 days of August. So you're probably going to hear Oscar Trimboli, The Art of Deep Listening, for this week. And once you have your album art, you already have your podcast name. Think of a very strong podcast name. You can now move forward and come up with a customized intro and outro. So if you joined us early during our live stream, you would have heard our customized intro and outro made by our very own Spielberg, Mr. Farisidek. And that is designed with the intention to resonate well with our target audience of thought leaders of different levels, those who are first time leaders, those who would like to go the next level with leadership, or those who just like to sharpen their saw. And that's the first thing that you have to consider when starting your own podcast. Overall, it's all about branding, consistency, and of course, just testing out the market if this would resonate well with your audience. So if you have questions about the first tip, branding, let us know. Let us know in the comment section. I hope we get to see your comments as well after this live stream. So once we have the brand covered, you already have your album art, your podcast cover art, you already have your podcast name, you already have the intros and outros, you have your spiels, your social media platforms are up and running. The next thing that you have to consider is hosting. So this makes it possible to distribute your podcast across major streaming platforms and multiple directories in the same time, making sure that this is hosted for an indefinite period. There are multiple podcast hosting platforms out there. For the leadership project, we specifically use Buzzsprout. So as you can see right now, this is how the leadership project's page looks like on Buzzsprout. So you get a glimpse behind the scenes of how it looks like. So we can already schedule our upcoming guests. So shout out to our upcoming guests this September. We already have the following. And in Buzzsprout, they already have that platform, an easy, user-friendly platform for you to be available in different directories. And at the same time, you can have your own page to be embedded on a website where you can direct them to a website where all the episodes are seen. And at the same time, in terms of directories, like I said, so it's available in multiple podcasts, especially the major streaming platforms. So it depends on you on where you would like your podcast to be available. So make sure that you have a hosting platform that you trust and that you're familiar with, and it can give you access and distribution to multiple popular podcasting platforms, because podcasts are now the new way of learning on the go, since we can do this from the comfort of wherever we are. So that's the second tip. If you would like to start your own podcast, choose a hosting platform you feel comfortable with. So again, the first one is on branding, the second is on hosting. Now, the third one is on the format. So there are different formats of podcasts. We usually are familiar with having a host, just like what I'm doing right now. This can be turned into a podcast where I share with you my stories, my experiences, how I conduct my own uh, platform, my sales and marketing duties for the leadership project. That's all. That can be a topic altogether. The other types of formats can be interview style, wherein you interview other podcast guests, just like this one. This is Oscar Chimboli, and what makes him someone worth listening to is that he has decades of experience devoted specifically to the art of deep listening. And also, we have different thought leaders from different fields. So we also had Dr. Steve Iacovelli, who calls himself as the gay leadership dude. And these things could be a different format altogether, where you interview different people, or you can also turn a webinar or repurpose a video content that you feel could be meaningful to your target audience by converting your video content into a podcast. And right now, podcast platforms also allow video podcasts where you can upload straight a video content, and this can be streamed also in the major podcast platforms. So that's the third one. So again, we already tackled branding. The second is hosting. The third is format. And the fourth is where I usually come in. That is the content. So what is the content, the thought-provoking content that your specific podcast or your specific episode would talk about, so that your audience would want to spend their 30 minutes to an hour's worth of their time listening and giving much of their time to your podcast. So why would they consume your content? What is the unique selling proposition of your content, and how would you reach your target audience with the content that you have? And this is also where our show notes come in, our transcription, and our social media calendar comes in, on strategies on when to promote it, what to promote, and how to promote the episode. So specifically for the leadership project, we use Otter as our voice transcription notes. So as you can see right now, we transfer our transcription notes here, and from Otter, that's how I write my show notes. So for example, our recent episode is The Art of Deep Listening with Oscar Trimboli. And what you will be seeing here is the exchange and banter of Mick, the host of the Leadership Project, and Oscar Trimboli. And what's good about Otter is that it already has the summary and the insights of what the episode was about. So it gives you a good gist of the what you would be expecting from the art from this episode specifically. So right now we're looking at the art of deep listening, and it starts with an intro of our guest down to the common format of Mick giving a playback of what the guest shares as thought provoking, to the close of the rapid fire round, where Mick asks these questions to get to know our guest beyond their role or beyond what they do on a daily basis. So given this, that we now have a glimpse of what the topic was about, what they talked about, that's where I get inspiration and I also draw insights on how I can write the show notes. So I am very traditional. I use just my notes application on my laptop, and that's where I get my while listening to the episode, that's where I write my show notes. So I'll play it here just so you have an idea of how it sounds
No,
like.
absolutely not. I was writing down on the piece of paper what are the big expenses in the next couple of months. What's in my bank account?
So
what might I get
what's
paid
good
out in
about
terms of
Otter
holiday
is that
filming or something like that. And
you also hear the podcast as it is being transcribed, and at the same time you have the summary on the sides and the nuggets of gold on what what is highlighted in the episode. And also it has the most common words or topics, so that you also have suggested hashtags or suggested topics that can be used as the title of the podcast episode. So I hope you're still learning from what is being shared at the moment. Let us know when you watch this offline if there's something that you'd like to clarify, or maybe there's something that you'd also want to learn more about, or maybe we can collaborate. So now that we have this transcribed on Otter, this is how my show notes look like. So let's open the one with Oscar Trimboli. So as you can see here, I usually start a show notes with a thought-provoking question. So with this episode, I use this. Have you been in a conversation that feels like it's drifting nowhere? So this one line is meant to catch the attention of our listeners, and at the same time make you ask yourself as well, make you stop and reflect of the question. And most often than not, when you get asked these relatable questions, you're bound to ask, tell me more. And that's what we expect. And after the question, the thought provoking question, I move forward with a quick background about the podcast guest, to tee up the podcast guest, to give credibility as to why this podcast guest has the experience, and also an idea that's worth listening to. So for Oscar Trimboli, he is an Apple Award-winning podcast host, also one of my favorite uh, podcast guests to date. And it's also because he communicates and clearly articulates his knowledge and insights. And this is one of the episodes at the Leadership Project with a twist. So for you to find out what that twist is, go on ahead and look for the Leadership Project podcast on your favorite platforms, and look for Oscar Trimboli's episode on the art of deep listening. So what makes this episode interesting, like I wrote here, is how Oscar challenged Mick in taking his deep listening skills to the next level by heightening his awareness of a third presence in every dialogue. So that's something unique, because usually podcast guests would just allow and affirm and not call out or not challenge our host. So this is something very interesting. And at the same time, in the show notes, what's something worth adding is that you put all the references of things that were discussed during the podcast, because usually the host wouldn't be able to spell it out, or the listener might have difficulty in going back to the minutes or the timestamp where a reference was shared. So we usually put in all the references along with the socials of the podcast guest in the show notes, so that our listeners can go back and see how they can learn from our podcast guest in the future. So that's content. And of course, after that, we also have our social media calendar, where we put this show notes into bite-sized captions which are easy to consume in different platforms, and are easy to share as well on social media, since social media is for engagement. So that's it. Those are the four considerations when you're starting your own podcast. So just make sure that you have the your branding, and then you have your hosting, and you also have your format, your content, and the rest is up to just starting it out. So hopefully with the discussion today, you were able to learn a thing or two about how we usually conduct our lives, or our podcasts on a regular basis. And for those who are curious to know how we could best help you, so the good news is, after 3 years of doing this with Mixed Peers as our host, we're glad to finally offer our podcast management services for all the niche businesses and also the individual solopreneurs who would like to become thought leaders in their own field by starting their own podcast. So you can visit mixpeers.com/digital marketing. Again, that's www.mixpeers.com/digital marketing. And in here, you'll see what we offer at the same time, and also ways for you to be able to contact us. So as you can see, we have different services, and we've already had different partners working with us, and we do this from the comfort of different parts of the world, from virtual assistants to podcast management, video content creation, social media management, and also website hosting and management, email marketing, virtual assistants, and the like. So we've already talked about podcasts and how you can start. Maybe you can also comment on this stream on what you would like to be hearing from us after this live stream. So hopefully we get to cover those, and hopefully I was able to add value to you during this quick live stream that we did. This might not be the most perfect live stream we've done, but I'm happy we're able to start it. So hopefully in the future we get to do this seamlessly, and you'll see a lot more from the different superstars. So yeah, I think that's it. Thank you very much for having me once again. I hope you have a great Wednesday, or have a great day, have a great afternoon, and we'll see you in our next live stream. Bye bye.
Many businesses do not have a platform to intentionally promote themselves. A number of businesses do not understand digital marketing and its powerful reach, and are stuck using traditional marketing strategies and just don't work in a modern world. Hi, I'm Therese Spears, and I'm the General Manager of the Leadership Project. And I'm pleased to introduce you to our team today. At the Leadership Project Digital Marketing Services, we help purpose-driven entrepreneurs and businesses to raise their profile and generate leads so that they can maximize their impact on the world. Our clients have an important message to share and are driven to make positive change in the world, but often do not know how to get their message out there. But here's the thing, no one can buy a product or services that they don't know about. People buy from people they know, like, and trust. We help our clients build know, like, and trust by elevating them to thought leader status and helping them to connect to their target audience. We had a wide range of services including marketing strategies, video editing, social media management, podcast management, book publishing, and keynote speaking. Our marketing strategies include niching down and understanding your clients, developing clear purpose statements and sales copy that resonate with your target customers, developing a full suite of brand-aligned campaigns and messages. Our done-for-you social media campaigns include all copywriting, graphical design, and audience engagement. Our video editing services create curated videos that generate interest in your brand and message, including promo videos that pop, thought leadership videos, and staff profile videos.
After running one of the world's leading leadership podcasts for the past 3 years, we are now pleased to offer podcast management services. This includes helping you to start your own podcast, including hosting, editing, and marketing the show. We can also act as your agent to get you booked on successful podcasts so that you can elevate your profile as a thought leader in your field. As best-selling authors, we now offer a range of book publishing services. A book is like a business card that someone can't throw away. As a published author, you become an authority in your field. We can help you with coaching on writing your first book and getting published. We can help you with the marketing of the book and getting you into bookstores nationwide. And we can help you with launching your book with amazing book launch events, including media coverage.
If you ever dream of becoming a keynote speaking and commanding presence on world stages, we can help you make that dream come true. We can coach you to master public speaking, and we can act as your agent to get booked on stages and conferences.
What sets us apart from the competition is that we deeply understand your business. We understand leadership, we understand psychology, and we understand business. We truly offer a done-for-you service where you don't have to spoon feed us every step of the way. We cover the entire life cycle of your marketing strategy, from ideation through to the finished product, so that you can focus on what you do best, delivering your services.
What support do we need from you? Our idea revealer is a purpose-driven entrepreneur or business that has a strong message to share but is struggling to connect to their ideal audience. We strive to maximize their impact on the world by giving them the platform that they need to raise their profile and become a recognized thought leader in the field. We will implement their digital marketing strategy and generate leads for them so they can focus on what they do best.